Good evening, Gordon. How are you?
I'm doing well, Akil. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. Seems like my Facebook and Zoom day today evening
Yes,
turned
yeah,
out to be. It's a privilege to talk to the right people on the right time, right? So I saw so many things going on your Facebook. I can't even follow what's going on
yeah.
in the Facebook. I see a lot of Gordons and a lot of candidates for success occupying. I mean, again, today, who are watching live and watching the replay, thank you for tuning in. I am with an amazing gentleman. I was really inspired by you and your energy. And since I've been introduced to you by Jay, and I've been really thrilled to get to know you, Gordon. I think it's an opportunity for me to um, tell about a little bit about yourself, what I know. I think a little bit of what I didn't know. Um, you're a social media influencer, which you don't need to even say. The time that they told me that Jay, and when he connected with me, said you're a master connector. So what does
Mm.
that master connector means? But
Wow.
I understand how you become how you're a master connector. I'm
Wow.
so privileged to get to know amazing individuals from not only in Canada but globally.
Yes.
Thank you for that introductions and thank you for that connections. And I think there's a long way to go. We just start scratching the surface now. But I
Absolutely.
mean, beyond that, I mean, I'm not going to talk about how you bring organizations from North American organization or US organization to Canada and Europe, take them to Europe and being number one in that industry that you've been done in the past. But I think we're talking about today. I think the amazing experience that you have and you giving that back to the people and always when I have conversations with you, except that couple of weeks that when you go through the eye surgery, I decided not to bug you.
Yeah.
Uh, you always, I mean, how somehow, like I think the cell phones is really to be hearing people, but I think you actually pumping some energy there. I don't know, maybe you have some secret weapon there out there
Yeah.
to pumping people. I'm not sure, but it is actually, I think that we're talking about 2030, 2035, 40 people can smell and feel what is other people doing through the cell phones. I mean, of course, maybe it's going to
Yes.
call it something different,
Yeah.
but you're pumping energy, a lot of energy. So I think today I want to ask a couple of questions because
Of
I
course.
see that you're doing so much things, especially with that magic chair or the spotlight chair and
Yeah.
with other things that you're doing. So we just want to find out I mean, today, like a few minutes ago, I was talking to another fellow Lighting for Success member, Kelly, talk about a lot of mental illness, mental issues, not even mental illness,
Yes.
mental difficulties and things that we're going through. I think if you're talking about normal people, they're going through a lot of
Yes.
mental challenges
Yep.
in terms of overcoming the current pandemic or caregiving or taking care of
Yes.
kids. It doesn't mean caregiving to the elders. It could be even to the babies, newborn
Right.
babies. But I mean, you've been doing a lot of personal development, personal support to people that, especially the entrepreneurs. Because I mean,
Yes.
now if you're talking about normal people versus now entrepreneurs, they even go through a huge challenge, right? I think so.
Right.
Why don't we start? But tell us what actually you're doing in terms of uh, personal development and changing people behavior and mental issues, mental strength
Wow.
in the area.
Absolutely. Well, that's what do you start, right? That's a number of questions. But first of all, Q, I want to say thank you for have given me this opportunity to share with you and share with perhaps some of your friends or clients that are going to be hearing this little conversation we're having. I
Yep.
see Mina is here, so hi Mina. And what's really neat is, Akil, you and I know that in business, right? People say that a happy wife is a happy life.
Yeah, yeah.
But on a serious note, right? I think about, like, let's say for example today, um, 34 years ago today, on Markham Road. So you can picture Markham.
Yeah.
right at Highway 7 in Markham, in front of a place called Country Kitchen. So I don't know if it's still there or not. I asked my wife to marry me, and I was just shaking, right, and scared that she may
Mm.
say no. And guess what? She said yes, right? That was like 34 years ago today in Markham. And what will we do about?
Congratulations, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Well, so it's our engagement anniversary, right? So not our
Yep,
actual
yep.
wedding anniversary, but what would we do without our spouses, right?
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is
yeah.
hard. I think
What
the
would,
women, sorry to interrupt, I think I do want to quickly interrupt. I don't even know how the men suppressed the women in the past. We didn't know what we can do without them,
yeah,
honestly. It's
exactly.
not,
So the support is so important.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I can see that, with your business, the support that you and Mina have for each other is unbelievable. It's amazing. It's amazing. Some families,
Thank
I'll
you.
give you an example, you talk about mental health, mental wellness. I mean, when my wife and I first got married, obviously we were in love and we're still in love today, but try to get us to wallpaper together. Oh my goodness. Like if you want to, if you, my wife and I, like, we cannot wallpaper together. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Or um,
Are
you
you
get
running a
married,
business
you
together
realize,
now?
okay, the toilet paper roll, like, does your toilet paper come over the top or kind of under? But you know what I mean? So mental wellness, how we get along with other people is so important. It affects our mental wellness, doesn't it? And so
Absolutely.
one of the things I would love to talk about is one of the biggest diseases I believe in the world today is actually money, money, or the lack of money. Does that make sense, Akil? The lack of
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's why I love having conversation with you, because you're in the business of transforming families' lives. That's what I
Yes.
love about what you do. People say to me, well, your friend Akil's financial advisor. No, he's not. Well, by profession, he's a financial advisor, but you know what Akil does?
Yeah.
Akil helps individuals become financially free. Akil helps families make sure that in the future that their kids are well taken care of. And so one of the reasons why I think mental wellness becomes an issue a lot of times is because, again, of money or lack thereof.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
what you're doing is absolutely amazing. So going to
Thank you,
personal,
Gordon.
you're welcome, welcome. And going to personal development, I have been an entrepreneur all my life. And so that's why maybe I love helping other entrepreneurs. Because when people say, like, why do you want to help entrepreneurs? And my answer is, I don't know. It's like asking somebody, why are you so good with computers? Right? Like some folks are so amazing. Like I mean, look at the kids today, the programs that they write, the apps that they develop. You got kids that are like 14, 15, 16. You introduced me to what, a 28, 29-year-old, and he's already sold a startup for tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like when I was
Absolutely. Yeah.
28, 29, I don't even know if I had $28 in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
kids today are so smart, so brilliant. They figure things out, right? Whereas
Yeah.
for some of us, we haven't. So me as an entrepreneur, when I was growing up, I struggled,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until that I started to understand that mindset is everything. We get told that all the time, don't we? You have,
Absolutely.
you have sales teams. You tell them mindset. The greatest football coach of all times, Vince
Yeah.
Lombardi, once said, mindset is everything. Attitude is everything. Your
Absolutely.
attitude determines your altitude, doesn't it? So
Absolutely.
that's
100%.
the reason for me why personal development and personal growth is so important. And I know there's a time when I didn't have that. And I
Mm-hmm.
needed somebody to hug me and kick me at the same time, right? And
Yeah.
say, wake
Yeah.
up, right? So, yeah, hope that
No,
answers the question.
I think, yes, you did definitely answer. I think that psychology is 80% of the business why they fail.
Mm,
Psychology of the founder, psychology of the people, psychology of the leaders in the management. I think that's really, really, really important in any
right.
business. Not only business, I would say, even the families. And again, it's not to bring the stats. Sorry, I really hate seeing people, especially in some part of the country. I'm not mentioning they had issues in the family, they had bad debts they have.
Yes.
Freaking people, excuse my language, freaking people, they don't even kill themselves. They kill the whole family. They give a poison to the
That's
whole family. It
yes.
is not, the kids didn't ask you to bring them to the life, and
Wow.
why you bring them, and then you don't even manage your own finance. I mean, yes, you all not bring
Yes.
born in that way. You need to really. I think it's all about understanding the wants and needs and greedy and proper strategies. Not everybody going to make every time. I think, but going back on mindset, leadership is not for business people. I think it's definitely even for the normal family person.
Every
It
day,
starts
right?
from
Yeah.
everywhere. Yeah,
As parents, we're
absolutely.
leaders. As parents, we're leaders, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right? And the kids, there's different. They all have different skill sets, right? Kids, and they lead
Mhm.
in some ways.
Is
I
it
think
that
that.
why?
Mhm. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think sorry I cut you off. Is this because I just quick thoughts came in? So is this that why you dealing with Think and Grow Rich and some of the areas of?
Absolutely.
So can you a little
Absolutely.
bit? What does it think? I mean, most of the business people or people get into the business. They kind of some point in time they learn about Think and Grow Rich, cash flow quadrant and all kind of a
Of
different
course. Yeah. Probably
fun
growth.
part. And can you
Yep.
a little bit put a light on where you are standing and what is exactly
Sure.
you doing in that
Absolutely.
space? Yeah.
So for me, Think and Grow Rich is one of my favorite books. I know there's a lot of amazing business books out there, a lot of amazing thought leaders, business leaders.
Yes.
Think and Grow Rich is a book that was written in, I believe, 1937 by
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill. And I'm sure most of the folks that are watching that are entrepreneurs have either heard about this book, read this book. When I first was introduced to Think and Grow Rich, um, I was in the real estate business, the direct sales industry, and my mentors would say, Gordon, you got to read books. I said, sure, right? You gotta read Think and Grow Rich. Yeah. And I probably bought a copy, I bet you. I probably had a
Yep.
couple copies, but I probably never read them. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, right?
I
They
can
probably
relate to
start,
that.
yeah. And I probably taught other salespeople and on my team, and I said, you gotta go read, you gotta go read. You gotta rethink and grow rich. Even though I was asking people to do that, I probably didn't even do it myself. It wasn't until years later that I finally embraced it. Like Jim Rohn says, leaders are readers,
Yep.
but not all readers are leaders. So reading is important. What we feed our minds is important. What we read, who we associate with, what we listen to, right? Because the seeds we plant in our minds is the garden that we're going to grow.
Absolutely.
And if we allow weeds to get into our garden, it's going to be tough. So we allow negativity. And somebody said, well, block out negativity. I wish it was that easy. I wish we could block,
Turn off the lights, switch. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like, you know how cold it was this morning?
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm not getting out of bed. I'm not going outside. There's days in our business where there may be things, challenges, people,
Absolutely.
the coffee's cold and there's politics everywhere. It's like, I don't want to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I believe that having the right mindset, and there's actually 13 different principles in Think and Grow Rich, the things that I'm sure you had, Akil, like you shared your story with me, how you started out in medicine. Who would ever
Mm-hmm.
thought starting out in medicine, you end up where you are today in business and finance and financial services, right? So
Yeah.
there's that pivot. And I'm sure that, most people hate change. We got to admit we don't like change, but change is inevitable. And then during those changes, it's got to be stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're going through a change, the change in the whole industry. I was in the last whole week, I was in the Singapore Fintech conference,
Yes.
where they're talking about all the money. And it's funny that in the Singapore Fintech conference, there's so much worldwide, it's a worldwide conference in Singapore. And
Yes.
we see a lot of Asian countries, and it's not very much in North and South America. There's only four different spots that were highlighted there. And then
Yeah.
also in some part of African countries was not there. But it was really the whole, I mean, Bill Gates was there.
Yes.
All the Microsoft CEO to when countries presidents was there, and they were talking, I think one thing I can summarize is the change.
Change,
The
yes.
change is going to be happening now, and change what happened now, and change going to happen in the future. I
Yes.
think it's going to be change. It's going to be not only we're talking about, the Mastercard president was, CEO was talking about how they're going to be impacting the whole chain of the money transactions, and the PayPal is
Right.
talking about they already implemented certain things in Singapore and they're expanding in other areas. It is so and so on. Like all the fintech companies and AI and machine learning, cryptocurrencies. You name it. So I think what
Yes.
really the matter is, change.
Yeah.
That is going to happen. So I know you have a special guest that you're inviting now, in terms of helping your group and other public people
Yes.
who wanted to get into this marketing. And so, again, because of part of my ignorance, and I told you why I wasn't paying too much attention, because I was really, I'm working on a Singapore time. So how I calculate the time and meeting people is,
Yes.
if I have like a 6 o'clock here, then means 7 a.m. there. So I had to look at their time of conference and then trying to meet people, delegates
You have one of
around
those.
the clock. So I wasn't paying attention, but I really wanted to ask. So I know you had an event with John Shin.
Yes.
You bring him, and we talked about and how he impacting people, and
Of
how he
course.
made a lot of money for in normal sense in terms of money. He
Yeah.
made success. He made a create successful business and made some money, and then I'm surprising because I spend 15,000-20,000, Mr. to go to a seminar in Palm Beach before the COVID,
Yeah.
to
15 20
$20,000 to
for a
go
step, right?
Tony Robbins Business Mastery Program. And I mentioned that to you, and I spend so much money to go to some of the seminars to learn and develop my skill set, so where I can actually impact people. So, and I saw this something, again, I didn't know the details of what part of it. I wanted to ask you the details.
Sure.
So can you give us a little bit idea,
Absolutely.
what is it and
Absolutely.
why it's free?
Absolutely. I love to do that. And the biggest fear that I have is this. The biggest fear I have, okay? The biggest fear I have is you just mentioned that you spend $15,000-$20,000. Okay, which is amazing because you got to spend, like Warren Buffett says, you got to make an investment in yourself. And so I don't mind spending and investing in yourself. We've seen, I just spoke to somebody the other day, they have spent over $100,000 in events and seminars and courses. So if you apply what you learn, that's amazing. If you can apply what you learn and get results. So the individuals who have money, they don't even need to talk about it. Right? If you look at somebody like John Shin, first of all, when I heard the name John Shin, a friend of mine was telling me, you should have John Shin come and speak at one of your events. I'm like, John who? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys ever do that? Did you say Tony Robbins? Like, I'm in. Like, I'll fly to Hawaii. I'll pay you like 20 grand if I have to, right?
Yep.
Richard Branson, I'm in. So when I heard John Shin, I said, I know a Jay Shin because he's one of my real estate investors, but John Shin. So I researched him. Anybody like to do research? If you do, Google John Shin, Think and Grow Rich, the movie, The Legacy. And the more I found out about him was, man, in the direct sales industry, in the insurance industry, he's already killed it. Incredible. Like the monies he's made in that, he's like a living legend in the financial services industry. And then I find out that like myself, he loves Think and Grow Rich. And him and his wife went to the Napoleon Hill Foundation and got the rights to the movie. And just real quick, he said that, and then I didn't know this. He said there's 5 books in the history of books that have crossed over the 100 million mark in terms of sales. One of them was the Bible. One of them was Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And one of them was Think and Grow Rich. I forgot the other 2, right? But he said all 5 of them have one thing in common. They all had a documentary. They all had a movie. So he thought, well, why not Think and Grow Rich? He said today, a lot of people ask him, Akil, how did you get the rights to the movie? Write this down. Because when I heard him say this on a training we had 2 weeks ago, he said, ask without fear.
Yeah,
Ask-
absolutely. The
How many of our kids ask us stuff, right?
101 principle for the business, right? Yeah.
Yeah, our kids ask all the time without fear. So why is it some of our insurance agents, they're afraid to ask? They're afraid to ask. They're afraid, real estate, we're afraid to ask for the sale, but ask without fear. And so he said, I asked him, I got the rights, and his budget for the movie was $500,000. Now, wouldn't it be nice just to have an extra 500 grand kicking around just to just to make a movie? And then he said we went over budget. Look, when I do a real estate project, if we're doing a development and we go over by 5 or 10%, I'm already nervous.
Yeah.
I'm already making phone calls like, what's going on, right? His movie was at 500,000. You were on that training, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
I was.
it went to $6 million. Can you imagine?
Mhm.
But in the movie, you have individuals like Bob Proctor in that movie. Bob Proctor from The Secret. Darren Hardy from Success Magazine. Sharon Lecter, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich for Women. And you mentioned Robert Kiyosaki. She's helped with many of Robert Kiyosaki's books. Individuals like Barbara Cochran from the Shark Tank. So many Grant Cardone, so many amazing individuals in there. And then I find out he's writing a book called Think and Grow Rich, a Nation Choice. Or How Rich Asians Think and Grow Rich. And that's a Napoleon Hill Foundation book as well. So I flew to California to meet him. I said, okay, I want to know who he is. I want to make sure now he comes and speaks at our event. I paid $2,000 for this ticket. It was a charity event. Not only did I meet John Shin and his wife at the event, and we got to know each other, I met Wesley Snipes. So humble, right? His charity was helping kids with startups. Colin Farrell, right? His charity was human rights. He's a human rights activist. And I met, Frank Shankwich, who started the Make-A-Wish Foundation, or Jeff Hoffman, who's founder of Priceline.com. And then there's about 1,000 people at the event for the gala, right? The charity. And there were 2 head tables. I didn't know that was going to happen. And I ended up sitting at one of the head tables with Les Brown. Can you imagine? Les Brown. He's been my hero as a motivational speaker.
Absolutely.
And I sat there. It was just the 3 of us, Les Brown, his assistant, and we had 2 bodyguards behind us. And people were trying to tap my shoulder like, hey, can I trade seats with you? Can I buy you a ticket? No, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just sharing with you, when you show up, you just said earlier, 80% is psychological. It's showing up. We know it's showing up. And because I showed up, I met John Shin. John came to speak for us. And then he's been doing trainings for free. And then last week he said, when we did the movie, I knew millennials don't read. So that's why I did the movie, so they could at least watch and learn financial literacy. And here's what happened. He said, because of COVID, everything slowed down, right? And then in March 2020, he said, I still wanted to get the movie out there. I want to get the Think and Grow Rich message out there. So we did a deal with a big box store. You guys know, with a W, one of the biggest big box stores out there. And March 2020, what happened in March?
COVID.
I mean, how many of you out there had COVID change our lives, our families' lives, right? And there's some folks who have their businesses have been decimated. Guys in the restaurant business, friends in the airline business, and so on, and it's tough out there. So he pivoted. So instead of feeling sorry for himself, he said some teenagers came along and said, Mr. Shin, do you know about digital marketing? I love teenagers. If you guys have some digital kids that know digital marketing, I want to adopt them. Make a long story short, this year, $50 million in sales. $50 million in sales. And along the way, he said, they generated 150,000 leads. Okay, our business, we always want leads, right? Insurance, real estate, coaching, 150,000 leads. I'm not sure about you. Give me just 150 leads right now, right? To close off the year. And then he said, he met through that campaign, he met this young lady making about 60,000 a year. Not bad. And look, if you have a job right now, be grateful you have one, because some people don't have one, and they're fear that they may not have one in the future, right? So that's why, listen, on a side note, talk to the Q now, make sure you're taken care of in the future, like plan now so you don't get stuck in the future. So he said this young lady wanted to start a business, didn't know what to start. So they masterminded together. So what's your passion? She said, I like to take baths. Huh? I like to take baths. And it turned out she likes
Hmm.
something called bath bombs. And he helped her start a business, right?
Hmm.
The entire business from manufacturing to the websites and everything. Like, my friend Jay Kenton, he's amazing with apps and online stores. But John Shin helped her sell bath bombs.
Hmm.
And this year during COVID, they sold $2 million worth of bath bombs. That's why she's going to need a financial planner like you. But who do you
Hmm.
know who started a business this year with no experience, with the help of someone like John Shin, do 2 million in sales?
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that powerful? So tomorrow, so on that call, John said to the group, I'd like to do a 2-hour training with you guys and teach you. Would it be okay if I teach you how I brand? Right? Remember
Hmm.
that call was only 20
Hmm.
minutes. It was on inspiration. And it ended up an hour and a
Hmm.
half. And he said to the group, can I
Yeah.
spend 2 hours to train you? So I called him.
Hmm.
Remember he said, ask without fear. So I called him the next day and said, John, are you serious about wanting to train our guys to do branding? He said, yeah,
Hmm.
of course. I said, how much do you want to charge? He says, it's free.
Hmm.
I said, what? Because I know in the space I'm in, some of my friends hold events, they do masterminds for
Hmm.
$20,000, $30,000. Right? And then they
Absolutely. Yeah.
invite individuals like John Shin as a guest speaker, and they get individuals to pay 20, 30,000 with a promise that somebody like John Shin would be there for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And then what? Nothing, right? So if tomorrow, if you're a friend of Akil's, this offer, these VIP tickets are for Landed for Success clients. And so not only has Akil been supporting us all year, he's a Landed for
Thank you.
Success member. He's been a gifting sponsor at our virtual speed networking events. He gets on our spotlight interviews, like the one you just brilliantly did with Kelly Chase on, right? And he's sharing his story in Landed for Success to, I believe it's going to inspire millions of people around the world. So our way of giving back and saying thank you to our clients and to Akio and for his support is, look, we only have 100 tickets because the webinar hosts 100 people. If you want to attend and be there for 2 hours, unlike me, you don't even have to pay thousands of dollars for a ticket.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
can show up in the comfort of your own home. So you have a VIP ticket. Nobody's going to block your view, right? Just make sure that you're in a quiet room. Respect your own time. Be present,
You
right?
don't have to line up for the hours and hours to get
Yeah.
there. No.
So
Okay.
that's the event tomorrow, Akil. So not
Okay.
only does John Shin know how to make money. Oh, by the way, just finish this thought. 26 different companies he's built himself, right? An
Hmm.
immigrant kid from South Korea, right?
Hmm.
Well, he wasn't born into money, but 26 different businesses now. Not one, not two, not three. Like, you know how hard it is just to build one company.
Absolutely.
26
Absolutely.
multi-million-dollar businesses. And so now he wants to teach you exactly how he brands his business, and perhaps you could do the same. Okay, so that's tomorrow.
Yeah. I think thank you for doing that. I think Gordon today running the two companies, or really running three businesses: personal financial planning and lifetime investment, helping advisors building careers on the financial service side, and then the tech company, uh, really impacting the globally financial advisors, how they're doing and how they practicing with their clients and able to do things. The one bigger challenge that I face is finding the right mentor and
Mm.
finding the right coaches who have done in the similar area in a massive level, so then at least kind of guide me on there. So I'm
Yeah.
always in the search of doing that, and then of course come with a very price tag. And uh, I wish somebody would show me this and this part of the digital marketing and things.
Yeah.
And there's so many gurus out there. I think getting something free is invaluable. And sometimes people don't appreciate that. But thank you for giving us that opportunity to invite my friends
Well,
and
yeah,
the circle of influence and people around
yeah,
me. I truly appreciate. I think it's a I've been there. When I pay that $20,000 to be
absolutely.
there, and I saw somebody pay 100,000 US to be close to Tony, and I think it's being
Absolutely. And I think
uh,
they should. I mean, these individuals have earned the right. So if you
yeah,
want to be with them, like if you could hire Jeff Bezos for 2 hours, would you? Yeah. What
it
would you
is.
do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. I've been part of some of those founders network and some of those areas where it is quite expensive to get some mentorship, get ideas, and be in
Yes.
proximity to some people. I think this is a great opportunity for anyone
Yeah.
learning how to market. Even if you have a great product or great solution, if you don't have a marketing, there's nothing really going
Well,
on.
that's the thing about John Shin. He knows how to market and make money,
Mm,
right?
mm.
Yeah.
I'm interested very much tomorrow to be there. I did
Yes.
register myself. I'm looking for, I'll spread some word around as well. And thank you for doing that, especially
You're
to
welcome.
you and John Shin for giving back to the community. I saw, I coach a lot of advisors and people. So people today spending tons of money on marketing, the wrong marketing channels, where they don't get results. And
No results.
my way of
Sad,
coaching is,
isn't it?
yeah, it is very sad. Like sometimes you can't change people. You can teach
No.
them, show them, and give them opportunity to change and pivot.
All we can do is
You
open the
can't
door
change
for
that.
them. We can open the door, give them the tools they need.
Yeah,
I do need to before we finish here. I do want to answer one of your original question though.
absolutely,
You called me a master connector.
absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you. I don't know if I'm a master connector, but I do want to answer that question and share something with you um, before we go here because you mentioned Singapore. And Singapore is about what, 13 hours ahead of us right now.
Yeah.
Connection is so important. I'm connected to you because of my friend Jay, Jay Canton.
Yes.
Jay believed in me enough that he introduced me to speak at the chamber, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where and at the Chamber of Commerce, when Jay introduced me to speak there, I met Ravi, I met
Mm-hmm.
Keith, I met Kula, I
Mm-hmm.
met Ram, a whole bunch of amazing
Yep.
millennials.
Absolutely.
My
Mm-hmm.
business partner at the time, Randy Goodman, because of Randy, there was the first ever Empowering Women to Succeed event for the women within the chamber in the
Yep.
community. So amazing things happened because of that one connection. Now,
Introduction. Mm-hmm.
the individual that I just introduced you to in Singapore,
Yeah.
very amazing friend of mine, and his story, how he went to York University. When he went home, he was like a broke student, couldn't find a job, and then someone through connection got him a job at a bank, and he became the CEO, the CFO, not CFO, the CTO, Chief Technical Officer for the biggest bank in Singapore. And you think he would have been happy, but no,
Mm-hmm.
because that was not his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So fall in
Absolutely.
love with your dream, find your purpose. So he started a financial services business, one at a time, 10 of them. And today only 2 of the 10 are still there, him and
Yeah.
another partner. But their clients are millionaires,
Yeah.
multi-millionaires, and multi-billionaires to a point where they had so many naysayers along the way
Yeah.
that this year, despite of the challenges of COVID, the wealthiest man in Singapore, the wealthiest
Hong
man in
Kong.
Hong Kong just purchased almost
Mm-hmm.
half of his company. Is that incredible?
Yeah.
Started with an
Yeah.
idea, started with a dream, and now you're connected. And
Yeah.
I want to share a story with you about that. When he was a student here in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
here were 4 students. His cousin visited from Singapore, and his cousin wanted to buy a suit. So we took him to the Danforth. And you know where the Danforth is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's still there. Caruso's on the Danforth. Look, if you guys are in Toronto and you're watching right now, go to Caruso. The 2 brothers that are there and the dad, are originally from Sicily. And it's almost like having the most incredible fine men's, like the most incredible tailor, Italian tailor, in a little shop right here in our own backyard. I mean, their suits are so beautiful. Do you remember when the Rapture first started? David Stoudemire. You know how he always looked sharp? That's where he got his suits from. Right? PK Subban, that's where he gets his suits from. It's just a beautiful place. I remember we took his cousin to this place. And he's just picking suits off the rack. And when it came down to pay, right, he took out this wad of cash. I had never seen so much cash in my life. It was thicker than this book. He had this wad of cash, and the two of us were like, whoa, almost like I'd never seen that much money before. He paid with cash, right? And then later on, we were having something to eat in Chinatown, and he said to me, he said, Gordon, let me ask you, and this guy's name is, this isn't his real name, you know his real name, we'll call him Bob.
Okay.
Looked at his cousin, and he said, Gordon, Bob, what do you think's more important? My American Express card or my Rolodex? And we're both like, we won your money, buddy. I didn't say that. That's what I want to say. Like, give me your American Express card, right?
Yeah.
I want your money. And he said, I'll never forget this. He said, there is nothing more important than your Rolodex. Right? Like who your network determines your net worth. Who's in your Rolodex?
Yeah.
And what he said to me, he says, now that we're friends, he says, anytime you're in Singapore, it's like, because you're a friend of Bob's, we're family now, right?
Yeah.
Because you could be anywhere in the world and you could be broke, but if you have that Rolodex, if you're in Singapore, you're always going to have a couch. You're always going to have a bed to sleep on. And I never forgot that. So relationships are so important. Are we building short-term relationships and long-term relationships? Or are we burning out our relationships because all we do is we see our clients as a dollar bill?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And so, so when you say master connector, I'm not sure if I'm actually a master connector, but I think it's just in my DNA. I love to help people. And if I can connect the right people, I don't know if it's even proper English, right?
No, it is the right connections. I mean, the funny part is that when you mentioned a name so-called Bob, so I texted him and I said, I'm in the conference in Singapore. Oh, are you in Singapore? Like how he excited on that. Right? I think it's a.
He would have took you over there. Like if you were there. Yeah.
He was one of those very busy individual as like many of the CEOs, and he take a time to quickly reply and see, I want to see in person. Like that's what he wanted to see. Anyway, so we'll fly down one day soon. But thank you, Gordon, for taking the time and sharing the stories. And again, thank you for doing that, bringing your chin to the Toronto in life and helping the people. I think if you were wasting money on advertising and marketing, I've been doing strategically. I'm here to learn what John is doing, and I'm going to have my marketing people join as well.
Have your marketing team there. Have your agents there. Right? And if anybody has a marketing team already, Akil, they should show up as well.
Yeah.
Like if I had a marketing team, I had a manager marketing my team, I want them to show up and say, okay, why does this individual have 26 businesses he started from scratch are $1 million enterprises? I want to know, right? And then if my team attends, I could at least say, oh yeah, hey boss, we're already doing what he's talking about. Wouldn't it be nice to confirm that you're already on the right track?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Gordon. So we sign off here and look forward to see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you again. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.